Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast to the protection against heavy rain and flooding by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
So the big challenge is, how can house owners like you and me get a flood-free home? How can business managers like you and me get a flood-free company? And how can public servants provide flood-free critical infrastructure and livable cities?
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe. This podcast is for foresighted and proactive people who do not want to shovel the muddy water out of their room while standing in the midst of the disaster.
Therefore, those who design and plan, the architects and engineers, need to construct such buildings and cities, and that even when the entire environment is completely flooded. That is a challenge, and this podcast will give the answers.
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
Yes, welcome to our show, listeners. I'm Andreas Klippe, and today I'm sharing a very personal story. An own journey with flood barriers, a path that led me from fear to calm in the midst of nature's unpredictability. Living near a flood-prone area. So the threat of natural disasters was always at the doorstep, and the fear was, you could see it, you could feel it anytime, and every rainstorm, every flood warning brought a sense of dread. It wasn't just about water invading the home. It was a terror of losing the sense of security. This is a story of Cristina and Pedro Luega from the province of Bulacan in the Philippines. And I just want to share what they felt. And it is true that the woman was always very, very afraid. And when it started to rain, it was even worse when there was thunder and lightning, and the body started to tremble because they lost all the interior, all the furniture, all the belongings already twice in their life due to heavy flooding. And so how do we start? It was really a terror of losing the sense of security. And determined to confront this fear, the couple delved into researching the world's top flood barriers. And at the end, we talked to each other, and then I told them, "Do you know already about the top 14 flood barrier systems?" And they said, "No, we don't know. What do you mean with that?" I said, I identified the top 14 flood barrier systems, what I consider the best top 14 flood barriers in the world, and they have different advantages. And the thing is, I do not need to sell you exactly this one flood barrier, because I only have one. We can select, step by step, which flood barrier will fit your requirements best. So I needed to know, what is your choice, and they told me, we would not only protect the property but also restore the peace of mind. That is what I mentioned before. That was for them the most important thing. So then the journey of exploration began, not just of products but of personal resilience. And then they told me later on, as they started implementing these flood barriers, a transformation began. With each installation, the fear subsided, replaced by a growing confidence. So with every barrier we installed in front of their house, and these barriers were more than physical defenses. They were symbols of a proactive activity against nature's fury. And they had 3 entrances, and one big one to the leading to the terrace, and 2 smaller ones, one for the main door and one for the side door. And as I've said, with every barrier we installed, they became more and more quiet and relaxed, because once the first barrier was installed, they felt already safe for the next rain. And that was this transformation. And that is something what is really, really an important thing. And we realize and observe that again and again when we talk to people. It is not only the flat barrier itself, it is a transformation. But of course, you must have trust in the system. It is not just a flat barrier that might not work, because they also tried something before. They had wooden planks, wooden flat barriers, what they have installed. And why did they come to us? Because they simply said, hey, these self-made flat barriers did not work at all. And I said, which was a material they were made of? They said, by wood. I said, oh no, don't wonder. Wood is an organic material, and that will expand and compress, and that will never work. And even if you take and then we consider to take one steel one. I said, how long is the largest opening? That was at the beginning, and I did not know about it yet. That was a terracing. It was a section of about 5 meters, and that is quite heavy. If you have a barrier of 5 meters, imagine you want to protect yourself by 1.5 meters or 1.2 meters, and you have a 5 meter long flat barrier. Don't talk about the thickness, because you must stabilize it. It's not really stable, and you don't have any sealing system, so these things never work. That's it. That means you always are afraid. So making informed decisions about flood protection, that brought a sense of empowerment. And I was they were just reacting to a threat and preemptively safeguarding their home and family. And this process taught them the importance of understanding the risks and taking control where they could. And that's exactly the thing, to get back the control. And when the floods finally came, the wife told me, I witnessed the strength of my choices, of the choices of my husband and me. My home stayed dry, but more importantly, I remained calm. The body was not shaking anymore. She was not trembling. She was not crying. She could sleep well. The barriers held, and so did her emotional fortitude. It was a victory over the physical and psychological impact of flooding. So through these experiences, they learned the importance of sharing knowledge, and because I shared it with neighbors as well, and me too, I learned the importance of sharing knowledge. I mean, I knew that already before, because I always shared my knowledge. That started in elementary school. Oh, I should not think about that, because one time the teacher got me because I was helping my neighbor. And so I failed the examen. That was in elementary because of helping my classmate in math. Anyway, that's another story. So very important to share the knowledge. It's not just about having the right barriers, but also about understanding how they work and the peace of mind they bring. This knowledge is power, a power that I now share with others to help them find their calm. So that was a journey with flood barriers. It is a testament of the power of facing fears and making informed choices. It's not just about the barriers themselves. It's about the peace of mind and emotional resilience they bring. It was a story of Christina and Pedro Luega from the province of Bulacan in the Philippines. And remember, the right flood barrier can make all the difference. That is my golden nugget. Remember, the right flood barrier can make all the difference. You don't need top 14, you don't need 20, you don't need 5, but you need to know which is the best, and you should have trust in it. It must be a trusted, a certified product. It's not just a physical shield, it's a tool for building emotional strength in the face of natural disasters. That was the episode Finding Calm in the Storm, my personal journey with flood barriers, navigating natural disasters with emotional resilience. I thank you so much for joining me on this personal journey. And if you are seeking peace in the face of natural disasters, consider exploring flood protection options. And if you found value in this episode, please subscribe for more insights and stories. I would be more than glad. Stay safe, stay informed, and find your calm in the storm. And as always, stay safe and flood free. I wish and hope for you that you make the right decisions when it comes to your personal flood protection. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this podcast channel if you haven't already. Now it only remains for me to wish you a good day. Do something with it. Maybe until the next podcast episode. I would be very happy. See you then. As always, stay safe and flood free. Your Andreas Klippe and the whole Flood Experts team.
That's it again with a new episode of Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe, German engineer, book author, and head of the Flood Experts. What can Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe protect for you? Anytime? Worldwide? Contact us or just click through to www.floodexperts.de/bonus. Detailed engineering, German quality, safe, flood protection secrets, the secrets you'll want to unfold.
Don't forget, you're only one flood barrier away.
Subscribe to the season, and you'll never be late for an episode.